Neil, Merry Christmas. Boxing Day is one of the highlights of the football calendar, isn't it?
Yeah, I think, and I enjoy it. I always have done. I know there's big calls for winter breaks and that, but I think certainly the Boxing Day game it's always been part of English football, and I think always should be. I think everybody enjoys getting out to watch a game, particularly if you're at home, as we are. So really looking forward to it.
And you must be looking forward to it after recent form. After Derby, you seemed especially pleased with that performance.
Yeah, again, we've said it all along, sometimes you don't get what you deserve. We've felt that in a lot of games this season. Saturday was another one. Excellent performance, probably deserved to win the game, got a point. But I just think the manner of the performance was particularly pleasing, because I think Derby will be up there competing for promotion. And we totally outplayed them for long spells of that game, and even Steve McLaren was gracious enough to admit that to me afterwards. So you take a lot of confidence and a lot of positiveness from that. Would have been nice to win the game, but it was important to follow up the previous two victories with a game that I think everybody was saying, well, how are they going to do at Derby? Is it going to be two games against weaker teams, shall we say, with no disrespect? But we stepped up to the plate and we're better than Derby.
If you look at it now, you've got a fully fit squad, you've got players coming off the bench and taking advantage of the good work of the players who started. How do you even begin to pick a team now?
Yeah, difficult. Obviously good players, really good players. You have to pick a team to suit the day and the occasion, as you've seen, and I will always do that. I think the pleasing thing is, obviously we've been a little bit tighter in midfield, but it hasn't really taken away from our attacking play. If you look through the stats of games when we were playing two wide players, two centre forwards, and at the start of the season, and scoring a lot of goals, the amount of shots we were having in games is very much similar to the last three. So that's key for me, though, to not just be a defensive team. Even though we played certainly in the last two games 4 central midfield players, the stress and the emphasis to them players is to still win the game, to attack. And that's been the pleasing thing for me. I don't think anyone would say we've been negative or we've defended. We've gone for it in each of the last 3 games, won 2 of them and drawn 1.
But you must have those players who came off the bench and made a big impact, chomping at the bit for a start now.
Yeah, and that all of them on the bench and all of them in the squad, deserve a place, because they train well, they work well, they do the jobs that's asked of them. But obviously, only 11 can play, and I think any successful team, you look back through the years, it is a squad game. You're gonna need them all. I will need them all. We've got 2 games in 3 days now, and then an FA Cup game, and the squad will come into play. But obviously, if the 11 on the pitch are doing the jobs, fantastic, and you hope that all the rest are desperate to get on as we've seen.
It's a Boxing Day game at Carrow Road. That crowd witnessed a 5-0 win last time out. How do you follow that up?
Well, I take a win. A 1-0 win would do. But it's nice to entertain and to score goals, and obviously we got that in the last one. And we'll try and do the same again. We've said hopefully we've learned a few lessons from teams coming to Carrow Road that many people have probably thought we should sweep aside, and it hasn't been that way. So that was the case against Huddersfield. Maybe a quieter 45 minutes, and then we were allowed to go and express ourselves. So the key thing is 3 points, as we've found.
Team news, any updates from the training pitch this week?
No, everyone okay, more or less. Still 1 or 2 knocks from the Derby game, but the key thing, obviously, if anyone is carrying anything and we want them to play in either of the games, is you may have to rest them for one, with the 2 games in the 3 days. But generally speaking, there's only Vardy Safoe, who we said last week is 2 or 3 days away, probably train next week now, and Javi Guerreiro's got a bit of a groin strain as well, so they would probably be the only 2 that wouldn't come into contention for these festive games.
Is the Preston game an option for those 2?
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, like I say, we hope Vardis is training next week, and Javi Guerreiro, he got a bit of a groin strain in the under-21 game, so we'll just see how he is. But yeah, hopefully you get them all ready and back for that.
Millwall are the visitors. They've only won 1 in 8, but they're frustrated teams away from home. I think they got draws at Derby and Bournemouth. What are you expecting from them?
Well, yeah, I tried to pick the brains of Steve McLaren and Paul Simpson after the game. I know Paul quite well, and they said that it'll be a tough game. They came to Pride Park and made it very difficult for them. Tried to slow the game down, make it bitty, and put you off your stride, if you like. And obviously we've watched a lot of the DVDs of them, and we're aware of recent games. They've had a couple of games recently on TV, which we've seen. So we're well aware of what we're up against, and obviously Ollie will You know, his record in management speaks for itself. He knows how to get results, whatever stage of the season, and no matter whether they're going well or it's times of adversity. So we know they'll be well organised and set up, and we have to go about our business the right way.
And he's a real character, isn't he, Ian Holloway? If anyone's going to bring in Christmas cheer to a press conference, it's going to be him, isn't it?
I think he's brilliant, I really do. I mean, I've watched his press conferences year on year on year, and I think somebody once put a compilation together of some of his quotes. I mean, people like that are priceless in the game, and the game needs more of Ian Holloway's. I think he's brilliant.
And I want to ask you lastly about the 2 games in 3 days. I mean, it's quite unique. How do you prepare for something like that?
Yeah, it's different. Like I say, 1 at home, 1 away, so obviously straight after the game it's preparations then for Reading, and we'll be in the next day and travelling the next day overnight and then into the game again. So it really only happens, you know, once a year. Sometimes you get it over Easter as well, but yeah, we've known of it, so there's no excuses. We've been ready for this, and the plans were put in place a long time ago. So yeah, just hopefully it's a really successful period for us.